Goswami on The Debate.
Time now for the nation's sharpest opinion. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a theory that if you try to suppress the truth, it comes back at you twice as hard. This has been the experience through my journalistic career, and everyone who has followed it knows that every time there was a scam, something wrong, once you try to suppress it too much, it came back twice as hard. This is also the case with the unending Soros story, and that is why it is refusing to go away. The Congress denied it. Priyanka Vadra said it's ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. But more and more facts are beginning to come out, and every fact is such a dirty allegation, that in the absence of a strong rebuttal, it raises very serious questions. So, for example, today, question number 1, did Sam Pitroda, or does Sam Pitroda, or has Sam Pitroda's organization, which he runs from the United States of America, get money from Soros? Remember, viewers, this is a question, not yet an allegation, but it needs an answer. Is there an organization called Global Knowledge Initiative that is run by Sam Pitroda, which is involved in organizing or financing the organizing of Rahul Gandhi's visits to the United States of America? And is the Global Knowledge Initiative, which is funding Rahul Gandhi's US visits, allegedly receiving money from George Soros? Question number 3. Did Soros also give money to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation? Did he? Has he? Will he? Question number 4 tonight. Has Soros also funded hundreds of individuals who are Congress members or known Congress supporters? What is Soros's interest in the Congress party? This man, who is known to be a very miserly person on other issues, is very, very generous with the Congress party. 5th question, is the media that takes funding from Soros always pro-Congress in its reporting? So the question here is, we are told that Soros has funded media organizations in India for indecently large amounts, either through equity, mostly through unexplained debt. And if he has, how is it that those organizations that take money from him are allegedly pro-Congress in their reporting? What's the link there? Next question, how many organizations in India have taken money from George Soros since he set up his organization in India in 1999? And was a person called Varad Pandey, who has led or leads or whatever, has a relationship with a fund called Omidyar, which is known for a political line in India, once a special advisor to Jairam Ramesh when he was a minister? Now, viewers, the question is this. We can keep running the scroll on the question. Fact is, these aren't throwing a dart in the air questions. These are specific questions. They aren't meant to make anyone uncomfortable, but they are meant to seek an explanation or an answer. You can't dismiss them as ridiculous. The questions are relevant, not ridiculous. And one day, one way or the other, we will get an answer to them. In the meantime, I want to reiterate my request, and it is still a very polite request to all the media organizations and sold out journalists in our country who have taken money directly or indirectly from Soros in terms of cash kind of freebies, to declare their sins. Now, viewers, we'll put this up for debate later on the show. For now, I now want to go on to another point, which is the big move by the Modi government, which passed this very ambitious and, in my opinion, the very needed one nation, one poll bill, which was cleared by the Modi cabinet, ONOP, earlier this afternoon. The bill that needs as many as 18 changes in the constitution and needs 2/3 majority in both houses of parliament, has a long journey ahead. On the one side, there are the right-thinking citizens of this country who want more governance and less politics. And there are others on the other side who simply are caught in the business of false realpolitik, who want to turn every local municipal poll into the ultimate contest of the government's mandate, who thrive on forecasting storms, tsunamis and whatnot for their favorite parties, and want to mislead the people on every legislative piece to suit their vote bank. Ladies and gentlemen, we are open about things. We support One Nation, One Poll. I believe you should support this as well. This will shut the shop permanently for people, the few people who want to hold on to perennial politics over governance. Now, I spoke earlier to Harish Salve, and I want to run a clip of our conversation on this subject. Remember, he was a member of the One Nation, One Poll panel. Here it is. For this section, I'm joined by Ridham Anand Bhardwaj, our legal editor, and we have with us Harish Salve. Ridham, and very topically today, we want to talk to him about the cabinet approval for the One Nation, One Poll, which is sort of been dismissed by the opposition, but which the government seems extremely keen on. So maybe your first question to him on that.
Yes, Mr. Salve, you were a member of the high-level committee along with everyone else. I just want to ask you on this. You were always a supporter of One Nation, One Election. Today, it's going to become a reality. Shockingly, not so shockingly, the opposition is trying to state it's going to be unjust. They've not been spoken by. Mamata Banerjee has come out very strongly against it, saying it's anti-federal. How do you look at it, sir?
So, one is the politics of the situation, on which I am hardly equipped to comment. But if you look at it from two dimensions, the good sense behind the proposal and the constitutional implications of the proposal, it answers both questions. The good sense behind the proposal is in a number of chapters where the implications of having frequent elections in a state, one state or the other, have been measured in economic terms. Fact of the matter is, and we've just seen elections in Maharashtra. Let's just talk about elections in Maharashtra. Not a single senior member of the cabinet people who matter missed being in Maharashtra. How many days of work of ministries, of functions of vital importance was taken away? Similarly, senior members of parliament of the opposition parties were busy in Maharashtra when maybe they could have been in parliament or their own constituencies. So it is an impact on GDP. Plus you have the model court which comes into play, decisions are not announced. And then now you have this competitive liberalism of freebie culture. Every time there's an election, more and more freebies are announced. I mean, there are so many different dimensions. If you have one good consolidated election, and it's a very myopic view to say it's only 5,000 crores or 10,000 crores. That's the cost of the election. But believe me, when you go into the analysis, that's the least relevant factor. It is a relevant factor, it's the least relevant factor. The amount of deployment of civil servants in the election exercise, I know for a fact, so many things get stuck up because some senior officer has been deployed somewhere. Now, if you calculate the effect of all this disruption on the gross domestic product, we have an econometric model done. It makes a difference of 1%. 1% of India's GDP is a massive figure, massive figure. So this is the good sense behind the decision. To say it is against federalism means that the first 3 elections in India were inconsistent with principles of federalism. I mean, that's as far as this is concerned. But if somebody reads the detail of the proposals which the committee has made, and it's always open to criticism, if somebody comes up with a formal argument saying it is not consistent with federalism for reason A, B, or C, what the report broadly submits and it is consistent with the language of the Constitution, which only prescribes the maximum outer limit for a session of for a term of Parliament and a term of a House of Legislature. This has been departed from was an emergency where Congress added 2 years for the then House. But otherwise, there is only a maximum term. Now, consistent with the maximum term, if a provision is made that if a House comes to an end before its maximum term, the next election will be for the balance period. How is that inconsistent with federalism? The Constitution itself envisages that if there is less than 6 months left, you can postpone elections. That is more of a assault on they're more inconsistent in that sense with federalism and having elected government than having a government for a shorter period. And also, if people are told, if people know that if you go in for a midterm election, then you are going to go through an election for only 2 years, only 2.5 years. It is a deterrent and it lacks stability. Now, these are all the arguments for. The only argument I've heard against is of catchphrases, and unfortunately, my generation is not very good in the one-liners which you see on Twitter. Like one of the leaders of one of the parties said, this is a weapon of mass distraction. Now, that's a very nice expression, but it's distracting from the fact that you have no logical answer to any of the arguments which have been run, and therefore
of
you
course. But you're pretty certain, I mean, that this cannot go through judicial challenge.
I am reasonably certain that it can't go through judicial challenge. We will be discussing problems with the judiciary in the other interview which you want to have.
And do you think the Prime Minister has the numbers to pull this through? The government has the numbers to pull this through?
See, first of all, you may call people like us incorrigible optimists, but we believe after all the noise and dust is settled, good sense does prevail with human beings.
Yeah.
Now, today's situation, this is something which needs a debate. It needs a national debate. Maybe after 3 years, it becomes an electoral issue, and maybe if the government can persuade the people of this country that this is good for the country and makes it an electoral issue, you will see the tune changing.
Yeah.
So the only argument which I've heard, and I don't understand how it works, but the only argument which I've heard is if you have separate elections for the state, then the Modi factor goes away, or you can focus on the local leaders without getting worried about the bigger picture of the national leader. Now, that's not a constitutional argument. That's
so true.
A petty political argument. It's true or false, I don't know. I'm nobody to comment.
I wouldn't take that seriously at all. I would, in fact, dismiss it. But for that, for your perspective on One Nation, One Poll, big story of the day, thank you very much, Harish Salve. Thank you. Thank you, sir.